I want you to picture a very specific moment. You know the one. You've just come home with the package.
Oh, I know this moment.
It's just sitting there on the table, and it's almost like vibrating with potential. You set up your phone, maybe you prop it up against a stack of art books.
Never the paper bags.
Never the paperbacks, always the hardcovers. Because you need the lighting to catch the gold foil just right. You hit record, and then for what, maybe 47 seconds, you perform the ritual.
And it absolutely is a ritual. It's high church for the consumer age.
Exactly. The soft tear of that Hermes orange paper, the way you deliberately place your fingertips against the leather.
Think you're handling a religious artifact.
Or a newborn baby, yeah. And you do that slow, cinematic pan across the hardware. And here's the thing, I realized I was doing this last week. You're not really doing this for yourself, are you?
No, you're performing.
You're doing it for an audience that doesn't even exist yet. And I have to admit, I have done this. I have absolutely performed the unboxing for an imaginary crowd before I even posted it.
It's a fascinating performance. But if we really look at what's happening underneath the hood, if we put on our analyst glasses for a second, that 47 seconds is actually the most dangerous part of the whole transaction.
Dangerous, why?
Because you aren't documenting joy. You are manufacturing evidence.
Evidence of what? That I have disposable income.
Evidence of a transformation that hasn't actually happened. We aren't buying handbags or watches anymore. We're buying ontological reassurance.
Okay, well, we're jumping right into the deep end immediately. Ontological reassurance. That sounds incredibly heavy for a Tuesday. Let's decode that before we go any further.
Fair enough. Ontology is basically the philosophical study of being, of existence. So ontological reassurance is just a fancy way of saying proof that I matter, proof that I am real.
Right.
The luxury industry isn't selling craftsmanship. I mean, that's the old model.
Yeah.
Today, they are selling you a whisper. And that whisper says, you are worthy, you have arrived, you belong.
And we've sort of medicalized our own existential hunger and then prescribed ourselves retail therapy to fix it.
That's it in a nutshell.
Wow, that hits a little too close to home. It's that specific feeling of the void between the ribs, isn't it? That hollowness where you think, if I just get this one thing, that delivery notification it'll seal that void.
Exactly. And that is the dynamic we really need to get into today. Think of me as the observer sitting in the corner with a notepad, and you listening as the person holding the credit card.
So the mission today is to scroll through our own subconscious, to figure out why we buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't know, and why the relief never lasts longer than, 72 hours?
If you're lucky.
Right. 72 hours is actually generous. Usually the regret sets in faster. But before we get to the regret, let's talk about the setup. Because we have this phrase we all use, I use it constantly, I'm treating myself.
The secular prayer.
Yeah. Bad week at work, treat yourself. A breakup, treat yourself. It feels like self-care. It feels benevolent. How can that be a bad thing?
It feels benevolent, sure. But if we're looking at this through a Freudian lens, treating yourself is actually a classic defense mechanism. It's called displacement.
Displacement. So we're moving the problem from one place to another.
Right. Imagine you have a massive, unresolvable conflict in your life.
Right.
Big, terrifying questions like, who am I? Or why does my life feel so thin and fragile?
Or am I actually good at my job? Questions you definitely can't answer on a Friday afternoon when you're just exhausted.
Exactly. You can't answer them over a weekend. They are formless and scary. So your psyche does something really clever. It redirects all that psychic energy toward a solvable problem.
And the solvable problem is, which shade of Bottega Veneta pouch best matches my anxiety?
Precisely. You can't solve your existential dread, but you can choose between the burgundy or the black leather.
Ah.
And the purchase provides relief not because it heals you, but because it gives your mind a concrete task. It's a distraction.
It distracts you from that formless dread of daily life by giving you a tangible object to focus on.
It's something to do.
There's a brutal metaphor I've heard for this, that we aren't healing, we're just decorating the waiting room of our own psyche.
And it's so true. The decoration is exquisite, it's expensive, it's definitely Instagrammable.
Yeah.
But you're still just sitting in the waiting room.
You haven't actually gone in to see the doctor.
No.
Yeah.
You're just making the waiting area look really, really nice while the actual sickness gets worse.
But we have these really sophisticated ways of lying to ourselves about it. It's not just treating myself. We also use the logic of investment. I catch myself saying, well, it's an investment in myself. I'm trying to justify the price tag.
Pretending it's financial logic.
Yeah. Oh, this bag holds its value.
But let's be honest, unless you're buying a very specific, hard-to-get heritage piece, it's not financial logic. It's magical thinking. A $4,000 handbag does not appreciate your character. It doesn't increase your capacity for joy.
So what appreciates?
The temporary illusion that you have finally become the person you've been performing online. The bag is just a prop. It's a prop in the theater of self-actualization.
A prop. Wow. That changes how I look at my entire closet. It's just a backstage wardrobe for a play that never quite gets going. But let's talk about where this theater happens. It's not just in our heads anymore, is it? It's on the screen.
It's in the feed.
It's in the feed. How does social media fit into this whole psychoanalysis?
This is where it gets really fascinating. If Freud were alive today, he wouldn't look at your Instagram feed and see vanity. He would see dream work in real time.
Dream work? You mean like literal dreams?
Yes. Think about how a dream works. Your mind disguises forbidden wishes or fears using symbols. You don't dream about fear of failure. You dream about showing up to school without any pants on.
Right.
The algorithm is doing the exact same thing. It's the new sensor. It curates your unconscious preoccupations.
So if I see that same bag 3 times in a row on my feed.
It's not just marketing targeting you. It's because your psyche is circling an unresolved question. The algorithm knows what you are anxious about. It knows what you feel you're lacking.
So the bag isn't just a bag.
No. The bag is a symbol. It's standing in for something you can't quite name. Maybe it's your father's approval. Maybe it's the fear that you're unlovable. The feed is selling you disguised wish fulfillment.
And you keep clicking because part of you recognizes the symbol, even if your conscious mind just thinks, ooh, that's pretty leather.
Exactly.
That makes the transaction feel so much more loaded. It's like there's this whole negotiation happening in my head every time I click add to cart.
It is a negotiation. It's a peace treaty between the 3 parts of your psyche.
Okay.
The I, the ego, and the superego.
Okay, let's break that down. I think we all vaguely remember this from Psych 101, but how does it apply to online shopping? Who's saying what in this negotiation?
So start with the id. The id is, well, it's the primal part. It operates on the pleasure principle. It's like a toddler screaming, I want to feel whole and I want to feel it and now W.
It doesn't care about my credit score.
Zero concern. It just wants the dopamine. Then you have the superego.
That's the wet blanket, right? The judge.
The superego is the internal critic. It whispers, you aren't enough. You haven't earned this. You should be saving for a house. You're being irresponsible.
And the ego is just stuck in the middle trying to keep the peace.
The ego is the exhausted diplomat trying to prevent a civil war. So it brokers a deal. Freud calls it a compromise formation.
Okay.
The ego says to the edit, look, I can't give you unconditional love or existential certainty. Those are out of stock, but I can give you this $3,800 bag. And for about 72 hours, it will feel like unconditional love.
And how does it get the superego to sign off on that? Because my internal judge is pretty harsh.
The ego just tells the superego, hey, back off. At least they worked hard for the money. At least it's an investment piece. At least they earned it.
But the purchase happens. It's a bribe.
But the superego has evolved, hasn't it? It doesn't just whisper inside your head anymore.
Oh, not at all. It broadcasts. We have a digital superego now.
It's in the notifications. Exactly. It judges your entire aesthetic of existence. You see the influencer waking up at 4 a.m. looking perfect, drinking green juice in a beige kitchen.
The clean girl aesthetic or the old money aesthetic, it's so curated.
That is the externalized judge saying, your life lacks curation. Your life is messy. So you buy the luxury item to bribe this internal judge. You think, if I have the Lowe's tote, I am organized, I am aesthetic.
But the judge can't be bribed.
It just raises the bar. Yesterday's arrival is today's stagnation. It's designed to be exhausting. If you were ever fully satisfied, the economy would collapse.
I want to pivot back to the physical sensation for a second. The unboxing. We talked about the sound of the paper, the touch. Why is that specific part so addictive? I read something connecting this to the oral stage, which again sounds very Freudian and slightly weird.
It is very Freudian, but stay with me. It's actually quite intuitive. The unboxing is what you could call pure oral stage theater. Think about an infant. Their first relationship with the world is oral mouth to breast. It's about receiving perfect nourishment. It's passive, it's total, and it is comforting.
So when we're tearing into that package,
you are reenacting that primal fantasy. The luxury object is the ultimate breast. And it's always available. It never withdraws its love. It never says no. You can always buy it. It's unconditional acceptance packaged in cardboard.
But you can't eat a handbag.
And that's the trap. You swallow the symbol, but you remain starved for meaning. You're mimicking the gesture of nourishment, but the hunger The existential hunger, it remains completely intact.
Which leads right to that inevitable moment of disappointment. You unzip the bag, and it's just empty.
That's the crash. And that's explained by projection.
Yeah.
See, you didn't just buy a bag. You projected all of your disowned qualities onto it. You projected confidence, coherence, permanence, all onto this leather object.
But you can't extract those qualities from it.
You cannot extract human qualities from an inanimate object. You unzip the bag, find only the nylon lining and empty space, and it's a deflation. You realize the object never contained what you were looking for.
You're looking for a soul inside a piece of dead cow.
And it's just not there.
This connects to something else deeply ironic, this idea of sublimation theft. Because I tell myself I'm being productive when I do this. I'm building my personal brand. I'm curating my life. That feels like creative work.
It feels like you're an artist.
Yeah, arranging my flat lay.
But it's a perversion of creative work. Freud defines sublimation as taking your raw drives, your energy, your anxiety, your desire, and turning them into art or science, something that builds culture.
We take our pain and make poetry.
But late capitalism has hijacked that. It performs sublimation theft.
So instead of creating art, I'm just creating an aesthetic.
Yes. Your drive for a legacy becomes the performance of a legacy. You don't write the novel. You post a photo of the notebook next to a beautiful coffee cup.
You don't learn to cook, you buy the Le Creuset pot and just display it.
You sublimate your desire into an image of the desire. You feel productive, but your actual self is atrophying because all your energy is going into the curation, not the creation.
That is actually devastating. It explains why so many of us feel so busy but so unfulfilled. We're spending all our creative energy on the packaging of our lives, not the contents.
You're building a beautiful set for a movie that isn't being filmed.
But it gets darker than that, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We have to talk about the concept of the death drive. Thanatos. Now, surely shopping is about life, wanting new things. How does that relate to a death drive?
This is the underground truth of the whole industry. Just think about the cycle. Purchase, relief, emptiness, repeat. It's a loop.
Okay.
This isn't actually about pleasure seeking. It's a ritualized approach to nothingness.
A ritualized approach to nothingness. Explain that.
Think about it. You know the bag won't fix your life. You've done this 20 times before. You have the closet to prove it. But you click buy anyway. Why?
I don't.
Because there is a comfort in the familiar wound. It's the compulsion to repeat. You're confirming that nothing will save you. It's a way of touching the void, but safely.
So I'm not clicking add to cart because I think it will work. I'm clicking it because I know it won't, and that cycle feels safe.
It's the safety of the loop. It's the desire to confirm that nothing will save you. And in that process, we reroute our libido, our life energy. Loving humans is risky. Humans leave. Humans judge. Humans die.
But objects are safe. The bag will never wake up and break up with you. The watch won't ghost you.
Exactly. It's a static, dead thing.
Wow.
Stable, but there is a hidden tax. And the tax is the exhaustion of loving something that cannot love you back.
That exhaustion is so real. It's a specific kind of tired. But we keep doing it because we are, renting an identity?
This is where we bring in the French psychoanalyst Lacan. He famously said, desire is the desire of the other.
We want what we think other people want us to want.
Precisely. The logo, the Gucci G's, the LV monogram, it's a shield. You are outsourcing your identity to the brand. You're renting temporary immunity from the gaze.
If I carry this bag, I don't have to prove I'm successful. The bag does it for me. I'm renting a self.
But when the trend shifts,
when the quiet luxury trend dies and we go back to maximalism,
the rental contract expires and the borrowed self is lost. And you are right back to square one, naked in the cold, looking for the next rental.
There's a specific moment that really chilled me when I was thinking about this. It's called the navel. And no, not the belly button.
The navel of the dream.
Right. It describes that split second in the unboxing video. You've unboxed the item, the paper is on the floor, the bag is out, but you haven't started the performance part yet. There is just a silence.
That is the most honest moment in the entire process. In that silence, you know it's just leather. You know the void is untouched. The magic hasn't started yet because the camera isn't rolling.
The item is just matter. It's just dead stuff.
And what do we do in that moment? Because I know what I do. I panic a little bit.
Me too.
We engage in voluntary amnesia. We choose to forget what we just realized. We pick up the phone, we hit record, we find the right lighting, and we force the magic to happen.
So the true luxury good isn't the bag, it's the amnesia.
It's the ability to forget the emptiness so you can perform the joy.
It's an inversion of the talking cure.
Right. Freud invented the talking cure to make the unconscious conscious. He wanted us to face our demons. We have done the exact opposite. We use aesthetics to make the conscious unconscious. We take our loneliness, our fear of death, and we bury them under a flat lay.
We spiritualize materialism. We sell the void itself as a solitude aesthetic.
Look at my empty apartment, isn't it peaceful? Look at my beige walls. When really it's just empty. We're selling the void as a lifestyle choice so we don't have to feel it as a wound.
So if the bag was never meant to fill the void, what was it meant to do?
Here's the final twist, and I think this is the key takeaway for anyone listening. The luxury object was designed to teach us how to perform a relationship with emptiness.
Wow.
The terror isn't that the bag failed. The terror is that for 72 hours, it almost worked. That near success is what keeps us hooked.
It's the hope that the next one will stick. That if I just buy the matching wallet, the feeling will finally become permanent.
Correct. But if we want to actually break the cycle, there's a prescription.
And thankfully, it's not buy a cheaper bag.
No. The prescription is psychic archaeology.
Okay, that sounds difficult. What does that mean in practical terms?
It means we have to recognize that the void isn't a defect. It isn't a hole you need to fill with stuff. It is the space where meaning must be grown.
That is a radical shift. To stop shopping around the gap and actually sit in it.
It is the hardest thing to do in a capitalist society, to sit with a gap, to realize that no logo can contain you, to realize that you are not a brand.
The unboxing video ends, the screen goes dark, and the void is still there, patient and unchanged.
Waiting for us to stop running.
And waiting for us to create something real rather than just buying a symbol of creativity.
Precisely.
That is a lot to process before I open my next delivery. But it's the reality check we probably needed. It changes the question from, do I like this bag, to, what am I trying to silence with this bag?
That's the question. And it's an invitation. An invitation to build a self that doesn't need a receipt to prove it exists.
And on that note, we are going to leave you to sit with that silence. Maybe don't fill it immediately, don't scroll, just sit with it. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Until next time.